Good morning. Good morning. It's Adolph Mongo. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, the last show of January. And we don't have Vanessa Moss. We don't have Alan Lango. They just having a great old time wherever they at. But anyway, we got Jim Nardone. How you doing, Jim?
Good morning. Doing well.
Thanks for sitting in.
Glad to be here.
And then we got the deputy mayor of the great city of Detroit, Todd Bettison. How you doing?
I feel great, Mongo. Thanks for definitely having me here and not putting me out because I got my Lions.
I'm not. And you're the deputy mayor of Las Vegas East, right? It's a desert town. That's what I hear from ESPN. It's a desert.
That's in a desert town. Folks here, Stephen A. Smith don't know how folks
in that your outrage of the week?
I'm so outraged about that. You know, for Detroiters, this is a desert town. Stephen A. Smith don't know how we make money. And the downtown is doing great, but he attributed the revitalization and the comeback of the city of Detroit and just the overall success of what we Detroiters doing every day, bringing it back, being nationally and internationally recognized. He attributed that all to this season's of the Lions basically winning.
So y'all built all this infrastructure from a 3D computer and just throw it down there in a year. That's what it seemed like.
No, we didn't do anything according to Stephen A. Smith. It was all, I love the Lions. I got my Honolulu blue hat on and go Lions. And I can't wait to celebrate. I can't wait to celebrate the victory win. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. And so Sunday is going to be the day. But I will say this, Detroiters know, all of us working together, Mongo, how long we've been working together to just pull people together, united, and grinding it day in, day out. The Duggan administration, city council, Mary Sheffield, and council president clapped back on him big and hard to let him know, like, this Detroit love. And so it's one thing for us to talk about each other, east, west, but if you ain't been here and lived it, nah, you can't do it.
Well, you know what? We don't have to deal with that for a long time. And when I worked with the late Honorable Coleman A. Young, I remember when the Pistons, they won the NBA title, the Bad Boy, and Bill Davison wanted to have a parade downtown. I'm sitting there telling the mayor, screw Bill Davison. You know, him and Bill Davison didn't get along.
Right.
So let him have a parade in Auburn Hills.
Right.
But the mayor gave me a nice little history lesson. And when he got through, I said, you're right. Let him. That is Detroit. You know, he always put aside his little personal feelings. When the Silver Dome roof caved in, Pistons didn't have no place to play. He gave him Joe Louis. And, you know, so I know what sports can do. No, I don't like the Lions, but I know that these last month or so, millions of dollars have been coming into this city. They have done a great job. I can sit up here and say Stephen A. Smith was full of shit. And he talked about, LA is great and all these other cities. Man, I don't want to trash another city because you know what? All these cities got issues. I was in Salt Lake City, beautiful place. They got thousands of homeless folks on the street. That's capital Utah. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. They got a tent city right down the street from the state capital. Denver, I lived in Colorado. They got a fence that protect the capital because they got several thousand homeless folks that made that area their home. So we can talk about the city, New York City, full of rats, DC, crime, out of control, Chicago. I don't even have to talk about Chicago. So I understand we're going to keep pushing. Detroit is on the rebound. I've been down here. I've seen the worst of times and the best of times. We not what we ought to be, but what we used to be.
What about some of the success stories? The Detroit Lions are a success story. What about the small success stories that are going on in Detroit? I was disappointed that I wasn't able to go to the Michigan and Trumbull Pizzeria when it was here They moved. The city gave them some kind of. It was a grant through the city to
Motor City Match. Motor City Match.
Tell us a little bit about that. How these little businesses are just booming.
And so that's what it's really about. So the mayor's office and what we do, we focus on the neighborhoods. I mean, you know, we got the Gilberts and we got the Illages, and we have individuals that are downtown. They're able to take care of the downtown. But as an administration, we know that we have to help the small businesses and we have to really help the people, because at the end of the day, it's really the small businesses that drive the economy. And so oftentimes, if you're a small business owner and you're trying to get started, you want to be an entrepreneur, you need technical assistance. You need to have a business plan. So Motor City Match actually comes in with the technical assistance. It's just not the money. And we take you through a whole series to get you built up so that you're prepared. And then you have to put some skin in the game, and then we match it. And so the average Motor City Match award, when they get to the grant awardee part of it, is about $90,000, $90,000 to $120,000. And so that really helps launch it. And so we've given out probably about $50 million just in Motor City Match funds. And so folks see me all the time when I'm out in the community at these ribbon cuttings. And, you know, I'm smiling from ear to ear. They go like, Deputy Mayor, we see you smiling, because that's what it's really about. I'm celebrating the fact that I'm in the neighborhood with individuals of color, women typically are getting a lot of the grants, but just celebrating the fact that we're opening businesses in the neighborhood. So my focus, the Duncan administration focus, is really about the neighborhoods.
Hey, well, you know what? When are we gonna have to stop answering these folks from outside of the city? I was at a bar years ago, and a guy for business for General Motors, and we talking, had a few drinks, and he said, you know what, I was scared to come to Detroit. You know, these cities, there's a few cities I can't, I don't want to go to, and they sent me there. I said, where are you from? He said, the state of Washington somewhere. I said, you scared of several cities. I said, South Dakota, North Dakota, Idaho, Wyoming, all of Oregon except Portland, all of Washington except Seattle. I said, because he said, why? I said, what you think? The militia, neo-Nazis, John Birch? I started naming. I said, now you want to play the tit for tat?
Right.
Now he got up and he left. And bartender said, man, I never thought of that. You know, or well, I was just recently in Salt Lake City at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, and one of the bartenders from Ypsilanti, grew up in Ypsilanti, and just talking, and she said, you know, did you visit in Boise, Idaho? I said, yeah, first time, etc. She said, well, it's a great town. She said, but just don't go up north. I said, what's up north? She said, neo-Nazis. So I said, okay, you know, I wasn't going up north, but every area got places that you don't listen. People tell you don't do this and don't do that. My answer to the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, I just ignore them and move on. And we wasting time trying to give a rebuttal.
You know, I think that it's important because, you know, the social media and so many people get their information from that. Young people stop, and, you know, we have a responsibility and an obligation.
Well, I understand what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So just set the record straight, because you have to let folks know exactly what you're doing and about the opportunities. And so what I'm here talking about, you know, Detroit for Life, and we run the ads on your show to help get the information about the scholarship opportunities, right, about just all the amazing stuff that we're doing. You know, even when I talk about our demolition program, you know, it used to be a time where the national news, international news would come to the city of Detroit on the day before Halloween, and they would stay the whole weekend just to see if we was going to burn the city down. We don't do that anymore. We got the largest Halloween celebration, and I came and talked about it right here on this show, Halloween in the D. And so the fact that we don't have the abandoned structures like we used to when Mayor Duggan took office, it was 45,000 abandoned houses in the city of Detroit. We're down to 5,000 now. And so if you go throughout the inner city, the neighborhoods, you can still find some abandoned houses, but you're going to see a whole lot of lots where we have torn them down and cleared them out. And we sold the private lot, we sold the city lots, the side lots for $100 to the people. So we basically, essentially, I can't give it away for free, but one of the things we can do is sell it so that Detroiters can take care of that vacant lot, own that vacant lot for $100.
Okay, well, what's your outrage of the week?
My outrage is with the mainstream media. It's really hard for me to understand what's going on. I was excited, all right? I'm not a supporter of Nikki Haley, but to watch the Sean Hannitys of the world beat this woman down just because she's running against Emperor Donald Trump, it's amazing. Why are we deciding the elections based on what Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity or Laura Coates, any of these people? Why are they deciding how this country is being run? It's scary to me.
Well, it's scary. Always been newspaper people like that. I'm an old journalist, old newspaper folks. You know what? The media carry a big punch. In my day, it was a visual, the newspaper, physical paper, TV. You only had about 4 or 5 stations in each city. Now you got I don't know how many stations. You got cable, you got streaming, you got 1,000 channels and nothing's on except the news.
And it never
goes. The news.
And it never goes off.
And you got people that making blanket statements saying anything. Nobody's checking them.
It's cultish.
You know?
It's cultish.
Yeah.
I don't think it was cultish 30 years ago.
I don't support Nikki Haley, but she has a right to run. Listen, how can New Hampshire and Iowa determine the fate of this country? And Trump only has 32 delegates, and he got to get over 1,000 to get the nomination. I don't blame Nikki Haley. I wouldn't get out the race either.
According to Fox News, the election's over.
It ain't over.
And Anderson Cooper is going to decide who the president is.
It ain't over. Well, now my outrage of the week is those folks that trashed the new U of M coach, Sharon Moore, saying that he only got it because Michigan is affirmative action. I'm dead, man.
I hadn't heard that.
I'm there. You have to, I'm on these websites.
I missed that.
Oh, man. They trashed him. They trashed the young man from Atlanta Falcons, etc. And so some of these folks, they don't want to see a person of color. Anyway, I say, well, I don't know where you're going to go and not see anybody. And they crying in their suit. The only reason they're coaches is because they got this, program. Critical race theory. All this bullshit.
That's that old school thinking, because at one point you go back, it was the old theory that, black men weren't smart enough to be quarterbacks. And so you didn't see a lot of black quarterbacks. But now in the NFL, you see that the top quarterbacks right now, you think about Lamar Jackson and just everything that's happening.
Well,
and so we, if opportunity is there, African Americans, blacks can compete in any arena. It has to be the opportunity. And I thought they got rid of affirmative action. So what the hell are they talking about?
Well, aren't we glad the Lions play in the NFC and not the AFC? And they don't have to face Patrick Mahomes.
But I tell you, I didn't know the last championship team in Lions, 1957. They had one black player, John Henry Johnson.
I'm not sure.
Yes, he's in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And before that, they had 3 or 4 that they drafted. At one time, it was only 7 African Americans in the league, and the Lions had 4 of them. So, the Lions was a little bit ahead of their time. Just like it's better than the Tigers, who Briggs Stadium, they didn't even let African Americans sit in the stands. It just, people want to play the card.
Yeah.
Now it's the right, the left, man, it's blurred now.
Sharon Moore is he's a good
Great,
coach.
great.
He's a good coach. He's 4-0 so far.
Absolutely, absolutely, and he kept it going. I mean, so he's a great coach.
Well, we're gonna take a break, run a spot, and we'll be back.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, you know, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com to see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
And we should talk.
Because I live in Detroit, I was able to get tuition-free college through the Detroit Promise. I feel very fortunate working with the Detroit Promise. They were able to afford me so many opportunities. I'm currently studying media production and journalism at University of Michigan Dearborn. I'm looking to take my talents further into the production industry, short films. I love working with people here, and this is where I want to be. And that's why I'm Detroit for life.
Well, welcome back. That was a great exchange, great commercial, man.
Detroit for life. That's what it's all about. So
There's no question. Talking about Detroit for life, a field house on the east side, man. The old Chandler Park.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well,
I was there. And so just another opportunity to with Pal and getting it activated so that we can bring sports right there to the neighborhood.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
What is pickleball?
Man, we got to expose our youth and kids to everything. So, soccer, pickleball, in the city of Detroit, we want you to be able to have right here in this city everything they got in the burbs and everything else. Now, I don't know how to play pickleball, but guess what, Mongo? We're going to get out there and go play some pickleball.
You play pickleball?
I've not tried it.
What is it?
It's kind of like a cross between, it's old people's tennis. A cross between old people's tennis and old people's tennis.
I guess that's us there, right?
So we're at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull at McShane's, Detroit Lions Central.
Oh,
right
well,
here.
Bob Roberts, who owns this place, he got drunk every day on the Lions Kool-Aid. Man, he's an embarrassment to those who don't like the Lions.
So that's a great example. As we look behind us, the old Tiger Stadium, which has turned into a beautiful little facility.
Well, people fought to not tear that down. And that was the most ridiculous thing in the world. Because Yankee Stadium, when they wanted to build a new Yankee Stadium, they tore down old Yankee Stadium, which was the home of I don't know how many championships, and they built a new stadium just like that. Why is it here? and go down the street, and you see the train station, and that was the big fight. Now, I did consultant work for the late Matty Maroon. That was my guy. I love the guy. But he had that train station, and he was adamant, I'm not going to tear it down. I'm not going to do anything. Because if somebody wants to, redevelop it, I'm all for it. And Ford, I give Ford credit. Ford had a vision. And here we got a place where people can say, look at the urban decay. They used the old train station. Oh man, it was a whipping boy.
It was on the cover of Time magazine back in 2013 as the symbol that the lights were going out in the city of Detroit. They showed the train station. They talked about the municipal bankruptcy. And so look at what's happening now, preserving it, everybody getting together. And I'm talking about working very, very hard and believing, because it's important to preserve history And it's important to do two things at the same time, meaning also progressing. So how can you do both? And so with Ford coming in here, making that Michigan Central and bringing jobs, it's going to be their research and development. It's a tech hub. And so it's just completely showing what we can do. And it's a symbol to the country and to the world that the city of Detroit, we're resilient and that we're going to lead the way. This is the Motor City. And so going into the next decade and beyond, we're going to continue to lead the way as far as innovation, technology, and electrification. Because just right over there, too, let me say this, we have the first electric charging road. Now, it's about a quarter of a mile where when you drive your vehicle over it, an electric vehicle, it can charge your road. So you're already looking at the future of what's going to be. So
well, you know that's a big deal because the people that I talk to that live in this city, and they hesitant about getting an electric car because they said, well, where's the charging stations going to be? Maybe all over downtown. Are they going to be in the neighborhood? You know, we got obstacles to overcome because folks saying they're not going to put enough in my neighborhood or it's going to be broke or whatever. The street thing is a great thing. Man. We talking about all of the city.
So right now we're talking about proof of concept. So we had to really prove that it worked, and nowhere else has it been done. And so to get that done and to have the smart folks who are able to electrify it and do something that hasn't been done anywhere else, it requires an agile government. It requires us to really work with them because when you go down to building safety and engineering to try to get a permit for an electrification road, it's nothing in the books for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing that they can go through. So it's our job to make sure that we are adjusting with the technology to modify codes, etc., to make it a friendly environment, to make the auto and the innovation individuals who are in this new space with battery power, etc., want to be in the city of Detroit. And so we did just that.
Well, the mayor Duggan said that also. He's talking about he would like to see the expansion of the People Mover.
Yes.
To where?
We're working on that. So we're studying that piece because the People Mover has to be expanded to where people are. And so if you really look, our generation, when I turned 16, I want to get a driver's license, right? And so I know there was a rite of passage. Young folks today, they don't care about cars. And so as we move forward, you're going to have a city in a space where you're not going to have as many vehicles. And so how are we going to be smart with that? And where people are really centered, looking at the People Mover, we know that it goes in a pretty much of a circle now, but it needs to be expanded to where the people are, the jobs are.
But you know, the history of the People Mover was we supposed to have a subway type system that went from downtown Detroit, maybe all the way up to Pontiac, you know, and the People Mover was the last stop. It's like, okay, that transportation system didn't come to life because of whatever. And all you had was, it's like building a house with a garage. You couldn't get financing for the house, so you built a garage. Now, that's how I looked at the People Mover. People made fun of it. People talked about it. But guess what? If you shut the People Mover down doing football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you got folks that's pissed. Right. Because you got people that live over the riverfront who use the People Mover. That's their transportation. So,
and we got to thank Kobe Young for that too.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of this stuff, the foundation that was built for us to continue on was really, the genius of Kobe Young.
Do you use the People Mover?
I've used it. I've used it a few times.
Well, I always thought the People Mover should went down Grafton and Grand River, and those are the new frontiers.
I used to play on the People Mover as a kid.
What's happening with the Gratiot area?
Oh, Gratiot. So Gratiot and 7 Mile, that area is one of our strategic fun neighborhoods, and so looking definitely that's a tougher area, but definitely we have future plans for that area as well. And so some of the things that we've done is really, like I talked about, the 45,000 houses really have cleared out a lot of the
That used to be one of the worst areas. It went from being a real busy, a lot of
There's a shopping
businesses,
center over there.
car dealerships, etc. And now, I've been going down Gratiot quite a bit. I'm surprised that boom, that popped up. When did Lear come to Gratiot?
Oh,
You know what I'm just telling you. When did Lear? I'm like, where did this come from?
Well, what's great about it is the fact that we have a lot of land. And so by being strategic as far as putting land together and courting businesses to come here, and we only strategically court businesses really that are going to bring a lot of jobs. So Lear brought roughly 500 jobs, right over here. And they hired folks right from the city of Detroit. And it's beautiful. And so it's right there, roughly at Gratiot and right there like a Connor, close to the airport.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of the airport, what's gonna happen?
Man, we can't talk about it. Hey, listen.
Man, I worked on that project. They had Pro Air, had Southwest, and people fought that.
Let me tell you something.
And Southwest wanted to stay so bad, but they couldn't have a full plane flying into these short runways, man.
But it's a viable airport.
Yeah.
It ain't going there. It's a viable airport. And so is the city of Detroit. And, we having more and more business individuals coming right in there. So it's there. And so really just build it up. It's one of the linchpins that'll hold that neighborhood together. And we build around it. You think about it, Lear just popped up right down the street from it.
They should.
If you're a CEO, you can come right there and be right back.
I saw that. I'm like, where did that come from? And then you go on the west side and you see how people fought to preserve Livernois, and y'all doing some good things.
We did Livernois, but guess what? I was at one of the groundbreaks over here. Now it's right there on Dexter, Davison, right in that area. We're doing amazing stuff right there. And so we're going to spend over $31 million in that area on streetscape improvement to bring that to really be like a second avenue of fashion.
Well, until we get the school system together. Now, did you watch the State of State?
Yes, I did.
And the governor said, okay, we're going to have free community college, 2 years for folks. Our test scores in Michigan, especially among Black students, they're some of the worst in the country. How are we going to stop the bleeding of our largest school system in a minute? It's not going to be the way it's going in Detroit. I was in Roseville, drove by the high school. They was getting out of the high school. There go our kids. Those are the Detroit kids moved from the east side or whatever, and they over in Roseville, they over in East Point, they over in Hopperwoods. They abandoned our system. And I remember Coleman Young, we keep bringing his name up, but he had some vision. He wanted to take over the school system. He said they don't have the city, somebody should be in charge. And to have a world-class city, you got to have what? A world-class education.
When you're considering a place to live, they look at a couple of things from a residential standpoint. You're going to look at, is it a safe community? You look at the crime. You're going to look at amenities. But if you're normal, which most people, of course, are, a parent, your most valuable asset is your children. And so I haven't met a parent that doesn't really want their kid to have it better than them. And so when it comes to education, that's what people really look forward to. And so we definitely
City need to be in charge. We're going to come back and continue the conversation. The Governor Whitmer, the election, etc. Deputy Mayor Todd Bettison, Jim Nardone.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, you know, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasurer.waynecounty.com and see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasurer.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
Don't worry about something.
Because
I can't throw any of them.
We're at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, McShane's. And if you're watching us today, like us on Facebook, DetroitInBlackAndWhite.com, our Facebook page. What else, Adolph? You're a social media guy.
I don't have a Facebook. I don't have an Instagram, Telegram, Billy Graham. I don't have any of that.
Get the bet phone.
But nobody's talking to us today. If you folks are out there, let us know.
They just chilling out.
They're tired of winter and they're relaxed.
Well,
Or maybe we're not that interesting today.
We are. You know what? When I get off the show, I get all these texts. I said, why don't you text and give us? You know, some people just don't want to be vocal. When we was doing the radio, people listened, and you know we was taking a lot of calls, and people didn't want to. Call. They want to listen. They want to know what's happening.
We don't look as good without Vanessa. There's an answer there.
Vanessa. Okay. Listen, I wanted to have another outrage. I was outraged at Tim Scott. Can you play that clip?
Yeah, somehow there's always a gullible new Republican who comes along thinking things will be different for them, like South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who seems desperate to be Trump's next VP. Scott publicly sucked up to Trump at Trump's victory speech in New Hampshire on Tuesday when Trump asked him about Haley, who, as governor of South Carolina, appointed Scott to the Senate.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it. Appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's
Oof. I want to throw up. I want to throw up. He might as well just dropped on his knees and made him please. Yes, that's what he should have done. What did you think of that?
Exactly what I was talking about earlier. Is this whole cultish attitude, and I guess what I'm disappointed is let the people speak. I don't care if it's Dr. West or Kennedy or Fox is now promoting some Democrat. Is it Phillips, Dean Phillips, or something? That
he's an idiot.
But the Fox is like, oh, this guy is really moving in on Joe Biden.
Well, Fox will support anybody that don't like themselves. And you know, I grew up in a home where my grandparents were Eisenhower Republicans. They was Republicans that go way back. Republican Party. Listen, Republican Party at one time looked out for people of color. They were founded as an abolitionist party, and all these folks talk about, oh, the Democrats did this. And listen, you can be a Republican, and you can be conservative, and you can whatever, but self-hatred is and loyalty. Tim Scott got appointed by Nikki Haley. Okay. She made him a senator. Not that she owned him, but he could have gave, and listen, even if he didn't support her, that is, you saw that clip.
Yeah, you got to be loyal. You got
to
stand for something. You got to have a backbone. You got to have integrity. And so, you know, I'm about loyalty.
I think that's great. I think that's, you know, when you're looking for people, staff, I'm sure you need somebody that's going to be loyal first. There's a lot of talent out there, right? But you want people that you can trust.
Absolutely. That's very critical. So what Tim Scott did is there was a serious bromance going on up there. It was definitely bizarre. So I'll let you speak more on it, but
well, you know what? Listen, the Republican Party is chaos, but Democrats gonna have to step up the game. I've always been, saying that they can't wait to the last minute to try to get out the vote and stuff. And we got folks that's in this city that they have served a long time the community. They have worked the polls, they get out the vote, etc. And those in power come and say, well, we can't come in here, we can't do that. People ask me, why didn't the governor run against Joe Biden? I think the governor's lawyer, she's Democrat, and she might want to be the president, but at this point, he's the incoming president, and you don't try to kill a king when you got a crazy man running against him.
It's about timing. People got to understand, the art of timing and being loyal. You don't run against somebody that's been good to you. And if you're really running to serve the people, it's about a greater good. Sometimes it's not about you.
It's like you got appointed police chief, right?
Yes.
Okay. The people that appointed you, you didn't come back the next day and say, screw you.
Not the next day.
Yeah. Well, maybe in time you might come to a disagreement and you say, well, this ain't for me. I don't work for politicians. I don't work for the city. And there comes a time when you say, okay, time to go. It's like Kung Fu. Remember when they showed he trying to grab the pebble out of the guy's hand? Remember David Carradine? You never watched the TV show? Anyway, when he finally snatched it, the guy said it's time to go. Yep, it's time to go. You know when it's time to go. But before that, you know that you got to be loyal. And if you disagree with the person that appointed you to something, there's ways to deal with it, and it's not in public.
I agree with that, but is Joe Biden the best person? Let's look at 2024?
He's the best person right now. He's the best person right now.
You think in 2027 he's going to be you think either one of these guys are going to?
George Burns lived to be 100, and he was close. Now, listen, that's why you got the vice president. That's why you got your second in command.
I have to say he's definitely, Joe Biden has definitely been good to the city of Detroit, And so
tell us what has the administration done?
Even as the vice president, when he was there under Obama, we went through some economic crisis here. And so one of the biggest things, I call it like the big three. Of course, we got police, we have fire, and then we got DDOT, the transit system. And so he helped the city of Detroit through various grants and funds get a lot of buses here, new buses. It was something roughly like 20, 30 buses. But he really got us the foundation to help move folks. And since then, while he was there as well, when it came to the demolition program that I talked about and being able to take the 45,000 abandoned houses, and now we're down to 5,000. Getting money from DC with the relationship that he has with Mayor Duggan was key. And so when you talk about overall where we're at the city of Detroit, the property value going up, let me ask you this question, Detroit. If you have a nice house, but it's an abandoned, dilapidated house that's in poor condition next to your house, how much do you think your house is going to be worth? And so based off of the direct funding that has came from Washington, D.C. to the city of Detroit that has helped us do all these amazing things like the ARPA dollars with the commercials that you see, Detroit for Life, with the scholarship programs, that stuff is having a direct impact in changing lives in the city of Detroit and creating generational wealth. So
why isn't his people coming in and saying that? See, that's where I have a problem because they don't say it. We gotta get you and to come here and tell us what they've been doing.
And I'll say this too. You know, it comes back to being loyal. It is not being about you. And so with the ARPA dollars that went to a lot of the cities out there, you have a lot of mayors across the country. And I'll say this. They spoke as like I did this, and never gave credit back to the White House as to making the link so that their constituents will really understand that you can't just do it alone. You got to be able to bring the money back home and give credit to the people who gave you the money. Give credit.
So can you tell us a little about the 375 project?
That's really an MDOT project, and
Okay.
so it's going to be amazing from what I gather, because there was historic area of Black Bottom,
Exactly.
and historically,
You
Mongo,
know it's gonna be hot.
it's definitely going to be hot.
It's gonna be hot.
And so they're going to raise the freeway and make it more walkable, accessible. Of course, there's going to be businesses that are going to be there.
Is the city going to be a part of that? Or is that the MDOT?
It's the city. The city has a voice, and so we weigh in. But it's an MDOT led project.
Because you got folks saying, "Oh, the usual suspects is going to control all that."
When you say the usual suspects, who are they?
Developers, Dan Gilbert, villages. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And so,
Gary Thurgood.
from a city perspective, we want to ensure that Detroiters, because it primarily impacted Detroiters, and just like we did with the marijuana ordinance. One of the things that we did that no other city did that I'm aware of is we ensured that legacy Detroiters got a chance to get some of those licenses. And we got sued. The city of Detroit got sued, but we prevailed in court so that we can set it up so that roughly 60% of all licenses given for marijuana, not medical, but marijuana recreational dispensaries in the city of Detroit went to legacy Detroiters. And to be a legacy Detroiter, that was somebody who was adversely impacted by marijuana, the laws over time, and had been a resident of the city of Detroit or affiliated, having someone with 50% or more within the business in the city to be able to qualify for that. And so I say that to say that we're very strategic in ensuring that legacy Detroiters are gonna play a role in being able to participate in I-375.
Well, ain't no question, because that's a hot button issue. That's going to be coming up.
But the reason I bring that up is we talk about funds and money coming back to the city and through the state, federal funds.
Absolutely.
That are going to turn that area into a boulevard.
Yeah,
right. But you can look here at Court Town and people was crying saying, "Oh, Tiger's leaving, everything's gonna die." The Exchange is alive, Octavia, Nemo's, all these places, Slows, all you can name all these restaurants. You got condos, apartments, they still building. New hotel.
Where does Corktown in on the west side? You look out, when I was a kid, when you came to Tiger Stadium, it was a block or two, right? It was a block or two. Now you can look out a mile or two. Is it going to end at Miller Road in Dearborn? Is that where Corktown's going to end?
They'll come up with a new name for it, so it won't be Corktown. Just like with you think about Indian Village, you think about Island View, you think about these new bustling communities, and so it's stretching all the way down. It's going to go down the Miller Road because this is a hot area.
You know, people want to change Indian Village name.
What
they say it's derogatory.
Okay.
Well, you know,
I know.
I'm just the best.
What's the name they want?
Who knows? It's like, listen, that name change when people were saying they was pissed off at Cass. What, you gonna change everything? And you know what? I had a condo over by Elmwood Cemetery, and I got on my balcony, and it was the cemetery. there's a big monument. Who's buried over there? Louis Cass. He was my neighbor. He was my neighbor for many years. But you're gonna change Woodward's name? You're gonna change John R. I could just well. But people say, well, you change your name. You know, you change Cass Quarter to Midtown. And some people I know still call it Cass Quarter. Some people still call what Huntington Place, what Cobo, and Cobo he wasn't the best of whatever. So it is what it is.
Well, ultimately the people decide, and so with the democracy, it gets really interesting. And I never say.
See, I want the deputy mayor come. We're not trying to. We're not trying to beat you up.
No, I love it. No, because ultimately, it's a democracy, and so I oftentimes it's like, hey, the people will ultimately decide.
And the people say, let's go and take a break, and we'll be back. Detroit in black and white.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com to see if you qualify.
Say that again.
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
Okay. We are back. Oh man, this has been great, man. Glad you can make it. And you know what? I like to play devil's advocate, beat up on Jim because he loves the Detroit Lions, etc. But tell us the impact of these 2 playoff games for the city, man.
Oh my God! First of all, just my morale. It has lifted my morale, and everywhere I go, it's just a lighter mood. And as we know, sports really unify folks and bring people together. But from an economic impact, it is amazing. And so when you think about hotels with individuals flying in, when you think about ticket sales, every ticket sale from one of these additional games, and then all of the bars and restaurants. Well, it's taxes that are paid on that, it's surpluses that are paid that goes into the state and also to the city coffers. And so when you have large scale events like this, Detroiters will say, well, how does that benefit my life? Well, as the general fund accumulates more money, it allows us to do more within the neighborhoods. And so you'll say, well, I don't really feel it. Well, when you're looking at that park that we're remodeling and when you're looking at garbage pickup and you're looking at a lot of things that you're asking for additional city services, these things all matter because we have a budget and the city cannot spend more than it takes in. And so with that being said, for a long period of time, we had more money going out than coming in, and that stacked up year after year. And finally, it got to a point back in 2013, it led to a municipal bankruptcy. And we all remember those dark days. But ever since 2014, when Mayor Mike Duggan was in office, what I can tell you is this: we've had a balanced budget for the past since 2014. So last year we celebrated 10 straight years with a balanced budget. But these games, bringing people to the city of Detroit, bringing folks to downtown. Downtown is the heartbeat, but it pumps all that money and resources out to the neighborhoods.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you this. Lions win tomorrow.
When they win tomorrow.
Okay. Well, okay, Slappy. Anyway, when I was with the city in '84, when the Tigers were doing their thing, public information. I know it no longer exists as a city department. We planned on the World. We planned on the World Series, etc. Are y'all planning just in case the Lions win the Super Bowl? Why you're gonna have a parade and all this other stuff? Because you can't do it overnight. So I'm asking you, are y'all that confident?
We stay
at the Lions. Go ahead.
We stay in a state of readiness. So I already got my little victory dance. And so are we prepared? Absolutely.
Are you prepared for 1 million people? Because I can see 1 million people
on Michigan Avenue, right in front of your place.
Yeah, right. Nah, I'm talking about coming down Woodward. Yeah,
we almost had 1 million people for the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Would you think it'd be more than that?
I think it'll be 2 million people if the Lions win. I think it'll be. I think
crazy.
I think that you're underestimating the fan base because you're not got your Honolulu Blue hat on. It's going to be 2 million people downtown celebrating in the city of Detroit if the Lions win. No, I'm sorry. When we win. You got Mongo, you wearing off on me. When we win, it's gonna be 2 million of us down here. We'll be in the middle.
Jimmy.
I'm just taking it all in. I'm enjoying this conversation.
It's good for the city, right?
It's great for the city. It's great for the community. People are talking about restaurants that they've never heard of in the city of Detroit I didn't know that restaurant.
Well, there's 3 restaurants right in the Corktown area that been nominated for the James Beard Award. Detroit got some great restaurants.
It's a foodie town. They're popping up everywhere. I can't keep up with them, but folks in the city of Detroit enjoy food, and when visitors come to the city of Detroit, they're getting a chance to just really experience it. And they all say, like, "Wow, I didn't know Detroit had this much to offer. I want to come back."
I'm tired of
hearing
I ain't lying. I'm tired of hearing that.
When we get them here, they're our biggest fans, and they go out and spread the word.
People from all over the world are coming here.
But Detroit has always been hard on its own. I remember talking to the late great queen Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
They loved all over the world. Detroit, oh man, they was tough on the sister. Anita Baker. I'm just naming, we're a tough town. It is a town that's too tough to die. It ain't going away. It's like Tombstone territory. Remember that show? Or you didn't watch TV, did you?
Not too much.
Oh yeah. What did you do? You was in the gang down in Taylor?
Sure.
Yeah, right. Well, but it's always good. You got to promote the city. You got to promote the area. We got great Middle Eastern food,
the best
Caribbean food. Wow, man, we got a lot of.
There's a lot of people don't know what a swamp is till they come to Detroit.
I thought he ran for president.
and then wait a minute, what about our Detroit style pizza?
That's great.
I don't even eat pizza.
Detroit had
but I'll eat a piece of pizza once in a while, and the best pizza to eat once in a while is right there on Woodward Shields.
Okay,
I'll eat a piece of Shields. Yes, the rest of this pizza, man, I'm not a pizza man.
And that's Detroit style pizza. So you didn't eat Detroit style pizza?
I tell you,
I was talking to a guy from Colorado, and I told him about Detroit style pizza. He had never had any. And so he cracked one of those wise jokes like, what's Detroit style pizza? You got motor oil in it, I'm like, come on. Yeah, I'm like, Motor City. And so after he got a piece, I sent him right over there to Buddy's. He got a piece, and he was like, man, I got to tell you, that's a good pizza. And it's really a certain way that they make it. With certain pans. If you ever read about how they make Detroit style pizza, they have to order the pans and just make sure that the crust.
I saw one of the food shows. I like to watch the food shows. And the guy on there, he wasn't from Detroit.
Okay.
And he said, I'm gonna make a Detroit style pizza. And the people was like, Detroit style pizza? They got pizza like that? Because he made the pizza. They like that.
And we won, just so Detroiters know, we won Best Pizza City, Best Pizza 2 years in a row.
Oh man, and
Well,
you
I was
know
just
what?
letting
We
you
can
know.
really, you know what? This has been great. We have had a great time here. Todd Bettison, deputy mayor of the city of Detroit. Tell our listeners, the people that's watching us, your background.
Oh, grew up. My mother was a Detroit school teacher, so that's one of the things. So I grew up back and forth between Benson Harbor and the city of Detroit. I moved here when I was 17 years old, and so
You went to Benton Harbor High?
yeah, went to Benton
I used to
Harbor.
be a reporter around
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
St. Joe, right across
yeah,
there.
absolutely. And for folks who don't know about Benton Harbor, Google it. It's right on the west side of the state, southwest side of the state.
Whirlpool still there?
Whirlpool headquarters are still there. And so it's a city that'll put you in the mind because folks think that it's a nice suburban community, you know, but for those who know, just Google it. It puts you in the mind of Highland Park.
Wait a minute. All the businesses moved from Benton Harbor across the river to St. Joe.
They did.
And I was there when it was happening and nobody said anything. They stole surrounding school district, stole all the great kids out of Benton Harbor. I was just telling you, Benton Harbor used to be a powerhouse in sports, academic wise.
They can ball.
You was a police officer how long?
I did 27 years with the Detroit Police Department, and so
surrounded by 2 cops.
Yeah.
You did. How long were you?
Just under 28.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, man, y'all come, man. Listen, I tell you, what made you want to be a police officer?
Well, actually, I wanted to be a Detroit school teacher at first, like my mom, and my mother was like, I want you to be a lawyer. Go on the law. And so I ended up changing my major in criminal justice. And while there, I met a guy by the name of Joe Hutchinson. He came in, he used to come to class with this police uniform. And so, so I was a young kid, so I was cracking jokes, and I was back then I used to actually listen to NWA, so I was kind of a little rebel, with all of that. So I'm cracking jokes. And he said, why don't you join the police department? I said, man, I want to be an FBI agent. And so he said, I think you make a good police officer. So I said, well, how much do they make? Because I was broke. I was making $3.75 an hour. I'm gonna tell the story. I was like, and I worked 20 hours a week. And so I was on my knuckles. And so he went on to say, they make $27,000 a year. And I said, well, how much is that an hour? He said, that's roughly $14 an hour, somewhere around there. At that point, I straightened up. I said, excuse me, sir. I said, what did you say I apply at again? And so really, that's history.
Well, that's good. We're glad to see that you did your thing and stuff as we come to an end at this last show in January. Time flies. Your final thought, Jim?
How could our final thoughts be anything but the great Detroit Lions? Where they've come from, where they're going. The Lions, it's the city. The Lions reflect the city, not opposite. The Lions reflect the community.
It's a place where players come to die. Your final thought.
You know what? I used to hear the term SOL, and so this is the first year that they tried to say it early on, and Vanessa tried to say that SOL, and I just wish Vanessa was here today so I could really just rub this in her face.
Lions and tigers and bears.
And so, hey, one pride.
Okay.
The roar is restored, baby.
Well, I want to thank Deputy Mayor, City of Detroit, Todd Bettison, Jim Nardone, Teresa, and people that's watching us, Alan and Vanessa be back. But I'm going to tell you, I don't like the Lions. I can't stand the Lions.
It's about leadership.
I don't want them to lose because I'm pro Detroit, but damn, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not even.
Say the words. Go
You are drinking the Kool-Aid.
No.
You realize when Jared Goff arrived here almost 3 years ago.
A good friend of mine. A good friend of mine, Jerry Ball. Remember Jerry
Yeah, I
Ball?
do remember Jared.
Jerry Ball is a great guy, and one of my neighbors for many years was the late Mel Farr, one of the greatest lions. Well, you know him as selling cars, and he used to beat me up when I dog out the Lions. He loved the Fords. You know, they gave him a hell of an opportunity to be a great business guy, and I knew Lem Barney, and you know, our prayers is with Lem Barney now. But so you know, I know some of these folks, and still, I don't like the Lions.
Say the word.
Go
Lions.
No, I can't.
Go Lions.
I can't. But you got to come back.
Go Lions.
Okay.
Go Lions.
Okay. Say it.
Go Lions.
Okay. Be back next week at the start of Black History Month, and we're going to be talking about a lot of great things. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for having me here
Yeah,
and for getting a chance to just talk to your fans, your audience.
I don't have fans.
Yes, you do. You told me you did.